Let's see how we can enforce a policy with a decision table. For our purchase request case, the behavior of our solution depends upon whether we approve a vendor for the request in the wait for approvals process, a decision that results in one of three possible outcomes. The vendor has been rejected, and the requester must return to the request entry stage to select a different vendor. The vendor has been approved, and the request proceeds to the quote stage. The vendor is under review, and the case must be routed to another stage, called vendor review. These requests may or may not advance after additional evaluation of the vendor. Since we already modeled this process with decision outcomes but no decision logic, we don't need to add a decision shape to the process. So, let's configure our decision table and add it to the existing decision shape. We need to enter a description of the table. We also need to specify the class and rule set for the table. Since we haven't really discussed these concepts, we'll accept the default values. Once we create our decision table, we can specify the conditions we want to evaluate. So, our first step is to add the has rejected vendors property to the table. Now, we know we need to return one of three results. We already have two result fields, so we need to add one more row to the table. We can add as many rows and columns as we need to model our decision, but in this case, one additional row is all we need to add. Now that we have enough rows, let's create our conditions. The has rejected vendors property can have three possible values: approved, rejected, and on review. So, let's select approved in the first row and rejected in the second. The otherwise row catches any remaining results, in this case on review. Lastly, we need to specify the result for each row. Our possible results are approved, rejected, and on review, and they correspond to the allowed values for the has rejected vendor property. Now, when our solution evaluates a purchase request, it directs the request to the corresponding processing step.